What's going on, guys? Pete with Auto Repair Tips. In this video, I got an 07 Chevy Tahoe, and there's definitely a story behind this one here. Belongs to a young girl. She's had it to 3 independent mechanic shops and 2 dealerships, and she has got thousands of dollars in this thing. I tried to tell her, I said, before we start this project, I need to hear the story behind it. And what she told me is it went to one of the first shop it went to, they fixed a vacuum leak on it. She said it still ran kind of rough. She drove it on. Went to the next shop, they did something with the fuel system. She went, drove it on, still had kind of a misfire. Second shop put a body control module in it. They couldn't get it programmed. Not sure why they put a body control module in it. Then it went to the dealership. The dealership programmed it, and they told her they couldn't program it 100% because there was other underlying issues. So she's driving the car away, and she swore up and down that she had a battery draw. Well, let's back up a second. When she left that last dealership and they couldn't program the BCM, she went to another dealer. They couldn't program it. They said there were issues. So she drove the truck like it was. The boyfriend or the husband, whoever it was driving the vehicle. It broke down in the middle of the road. They had it towed to the house. They said they put new coil packs, new wires, new plug, and they still can't get the truck to turn over. Well, that was a red flag right there. I told her, I said, if it's not turning over, it's probably not gonna be a coil pack or a spark plug. All right, I had a small interruption. Kind of not sure where I left off at, but basically they had the truck at their house. They did some things to it, and she'd go to start it, and the key wouldn't do anything. Come back 5 minutes later, she went to start it, would turn over for a second and then cut off, and the key wouldn't do anything. She was thinking a battery draw. She bought a new battery for it, same issue. So then she's thinking key fobs are bad. She had it towed to the dealer. They programmed the keys. Still the same issue. Dealership said they don't know what's wrong with it. Had it towed back to the house, and that's where it sat. 3 or 4 months went by. She had it towed to me. First thing I did was I confirmed it wasn't a battery draw. It would spin for like 3 or 4 seconds and stop. Then it wouldn't spin ever again, like there was just no connection. So what I did was, immediately I said, okay, what's going on here? I went, put my scanner on it, ran the codes, and it had a powertrain control code in it, internal failure. I was like, okay, this is pretty obvious. I'm surprised the dealership didn't see that. So the next thing I did was checked all the powers and grounds. They all look good. So we know the computer has good powers and good grounds. Confirmed all that. When I go to start it again, it started cranking. I said, and then it would just stop. Right then I'm going, okay, let me go to the starter relay. Went to the starter relay, hooked up my U-Activate, hit the button, confirmed that the wiring from the fuse box to the starter, there were no issues. I said, okay. So then I pulled a schematic on it. And this one here, 12 volts comes from the PCM to the starter relay, and that's what activates it. So I hooked up, I let it sit, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 hours. Went out there, went to crank it. Sure enough, I saw 12 volts go to the relay, engine's cranking over, and all of a sudden 12 volts go away. Well, that's not supposed to happen. I confirmed there was no breaks in the wire, there was no corrosion in the wire, and everything looked good. But I put a PCM in it, I programmed it here, vehicle starts and drives no problem. But now we're on to her original problem. There's a hell of a misfire, and that's where we're at right now, and we're gonna try and find it for her. So let's get into it. All right, looking under the hood, there's the old PCM, there's the new one that's installed. All right, let's go ahead and get this thing started up so you can hear this misfire. When you first start it up, you can hear a lifter tap on it. You can see the engine shaking real bad. The number 4 cylinder on the right side is the biggest misfire. The number 3 cylinder on the left side has a slight misfire. If I'm not mistaken, this has the lifter that kind of shuts off the oil when you're at a stoplight to save gas. I'm going to be a betting man and say it's got low compression, which I don't understand why they didn't pick up on this before. Someone told her this was happening because of a vacuum leak. All right, what I'm going to do now is now that I got it good and hot, I'm going to disconnect the number 4 cylinder. We're going to get a compression gauge on it, and let's check the compression. If it has good compression, we're going to lean towards a leaking fuel injector, and that'll be my next thing. So here's the plug. Not too concerned about here. This is just anti-seize they put on there. But when I pulled it out, it was really wet, like it wasn't firing. But I know the coil pack is firing its ass off. I checked that. I did not check it with the plug. After I do the compression test, if it reads out good, then we'll check this plug and make sure it's firing like it should. If it is, then we're going to start heading to the injectors. But for right now, let's do this compression test and let's eliminate any possibilities of low compression. All right, hopefully you guys can see that gauge sitting there. If not, when I'm done, I'll move it a little bit closer so you can see the result. We're going to put it in clear flood mode, push the gas pedal all the way to the floor and it shouldn't start. And there you go, 7 PSI, pretty much confirms it. So when I was cranking inside, it got up to about 7 PSI. It settled down at 5.7. Unfortunately, she sunk a lot of money in this thing and she probably shouldn't have. They sold her all kinds of crap. The final thing was the computer went out. And again, I had no way of knowing that it had low compression because the car wouldn't run. But once we got it running, like I said, we ran into this problem here. And this does have that AFM, active fuel management. It's pretty common on these cars here for that stuff to go out. It's on 1, 4, 6, and 7 from what I'm looking up here. And I'm gonna have to be the bearer of bad news and tell her that after you've done all this and spent all this money, that you basically need an engine. I have a friend of mine who he'll take one apart and build it and the whole 9 yards, and it's a crapshoot because he's got one now that he took apart, rebuilt it, put it back together, and it still has the same problem. I recommend going with a Jasper engine, and I'm pretty sure you can order from Jasper either way, with or without the AFM. I'm pretty sure she's just going to take her losses and move on at this point. So if we decide to fix it, I'll bring you along for the repairs and we'll kind of go through it and I'll show you what the causes are and what it looks like. But again, like I said, I don't believe she's going to fix it. All right, that being said, if you got one of these cars and you have that active fuel management system in it, just like I say, be aware if you've got a misfire on one of those cylinders, 1, 4, 6, and 7, before you start throwing all kinds of money into it, do a compression test and let's see what you got and go from there. Don't just throw plugs, intakes, coils, wires, batteries, cables, all kinds of stuff. All right, well, for now, this video is done. I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Catch you later.